acceptable respect these things. People talk about it as arrogance, all of the elements.
Hey everybody, Dr. Wallace dropping in on you. Headed back in. It's been sort of a crazy, off-scale, off-kilter weekend in a good way. So still trying to catch my bearings on this day because it didn't start out the way it normally would. Again, a good thing. Something very much needed. I'll just put it this way. No matter what's going on, if you are a person who is married or have a significant other, no matter what's going on, no matter how tense things can be, no matter how much you may be dealing with, how much you may be going through, whatever's happening, make sure to keep some spontaneity in your relationship, something that isn't a part of the routine, everyday life that you do over and over and over again. Because no matter how good a person is, no matter how much you know they're exceptional in what they do, if you get bogged down in routine, it's easy for the relationship to lose its luster. It's easy to be consumed by all of the things that are going on that the both of you are responsible for. Take some time, just get away and, yes, you want to plan some trips and all that stuff if you can, whatever. But I'm talking about just one day, just sitting up and say, okay, you know what? We normally do this every day. Let's do this. And just totally off cuff and let the chips fall where they may. You'll find that the thing that matters most to you, which should be your mate in your relationship, will benefit from it. And I'll just leave it at that. But I wanted to talk to you. I'm about to actually go sit down in the office and have an interview with a brother by the name of James Hudson. He's a playwright. He's also an activist in the Houston area. And it's about a police shooting where a young black man, some details that we're going to bring out, but was shot by a police officer who was on a stakeout looking for someone else. The story isn't lining up, the narrative isn't lining up, so we're going to bring that to you. But I also want to talk to you about this young man. If I'm not mistaken, I definitely know it's on the East Coast somewhere, but I think, and if I'm not mistaken, Georgia, that was on trial recently for the murder of his sister. He was 16 years old at the time. She was 20 years old at the time. And it was an argument over the Wi-Fi password. He had changed it because he didn't want nobody else on it. They changed it back. His mom was about to take the game from him because he was getting carried away, caught up in that game. And anyway, he and his sister got into it, and he put her in a chokehold, and he wouldn't release the chokehold until the policeman arrived. They had to call the police, and then the policeman arrived. That's when he released her. Obviously, she had been deprived of oxygen for what they estimate to be about 10 minutes, and she was dead. He was found guilty by a judge. It was trial by judge. He was found guilty by a judge, sentenced by that judge, and to life in prison, which I have no qualm with. And the thing is, if we were doing our job as black men, as black families, as a black community to properly socialize our youth, we would have less of this. The problem is it's becoming increasingly worse that we're seeing fratricide among minor siblings. It's a failure in proper racial socialization, especially when it comes to black males. My thing is, the judge made a quote, and I'm probably going to misquote her slightly, but she said, "I'm sorry, young man, that your family failed you, that they did not use disciplines as a means of correction, that they allowed you to ignore correction, and they did not provide you with the mechanisms you need to help you manage your anger. Then she said this was a home in which chaos was emboldened, and the willingness to ignore correction was emboldened. And she was so on point with that. She was so on point with that. And we've got to do a better job. As men, we've got to be present. If it doesn't work with your child's mother, you've got to find a way to be present. And trust me, I know sometimes it can be very difficult. I know sometimes it can be close to impossible when they decide that they want to use the child as a weapon or a tool of revenge, control, or manipulation. And sisters, you should know better. Stop it. And no, every man out there is not a bad man. Stop it. No, every man out there isn't abandoning his kids. If you are the reason that your child's father is not present in any way, shape, form, or fashion, you're out of line. Now, unless this father has shown that his behavior or his way of thinking or his practices and values puts that child in harm's way, he has a right and the child has a right to experience the love of their father. That's the first thing. Black men, second thing, you're going to have to stand up and fight. If you're like me, the last thing you want to do is fight with the mother of your child, because you know where that energy is going when the fight is over. You know, you're going to be done. You're going to go cool off. You're going to do what you need to do. But that energy is going towards your child in one way or another. Even if she doesn't take it out on the child, that energy is going to have an impact on that child in ways that a lot of us aren't able to understand. But trust me on that. This is what I deal with. You don't want to be a contributor to adverse childhood experiences with your child any more than is uncontrollable. So that's that thing. We've got to start putting in the effort. We've got to fight. Sometimes we're going to have to take it to a legal level. I'm really one of those people that don't advocate for bringing a system that has never served us in to help solve our problems in any situation. It just has never on a grand scale. Yes, there are some men that if you don't put them people in their lives, you won't see a dime. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about guys, if you sit down and work with them, you're going to get consistent payments. A lot of men are on child support, not because they weren't paying before they were on child support. It's because it was a way of doing something that black women know black men really absolutely hate. And that's having white men control a situation that they're involved in. It's that psychological. I've done the research. I've done the work. Again, I'm not talking about the dude that you got to chase down, and when they catch up with him, he quit his job. He works under the table, everything he can to keep his kid from getting. I'm talking about the dude that's doing everything he can. The dude that's putting it on. Stop that, because what happens is you create these breaks and these absences and these gaps in the presence of our men, in the presence of the children. And that's a part of the socialization process. The part of the socialization process is modeling manhood, showing young males what it looks like to be a man, how a man responds to rejection, how a man responds to correction, how a man responds to positivity, how a man responds to negativity, how a man responds to challenges of all nature. They need to see it happen. They need to know what it looks like when marriage is going good. They need to know what it looks like, how a man stands up and handles his business regardless when the marriage isn't going so great. All of that is a part of the proper methods and modicums of socialization. And when we're talking about socialization of young black males, it has to have a racial component. It has to be racial socialization, because being a black man has a unique dynamic to it. And if they don't understand it and know how to manage it and navigate it, they will find themselves constantly frustrated and angered by the challenges that they face simply by being a black male. You need to have them prepared for that. But we have a situation where a 20-year-old baby is dead, and a kid who was 16 at the time of the crime, 18 now, life over. And I hate to use that because you never know what can happen behind bars. I've seen some pretty miraculous things go on behind bars where people behind bars have an impact. But unless something changes, he's going to be locked up for the rest of his life. Okay. I just had to drop that on you. I had to talk about it. I had to make it a point. I had to, bring it up. So look, let's do better. Let's come together. Brothers, you got to find a way to be present. And trust me, I know personally how difficult it can be when somebody makes up in their mind that they're going to be a barrier and that they're going to create a problem. And they will come up with all kind of reasons why they should be doing it, why it makes sense. And you're going to have to find a way to deal with it. It simply is. You cannot say, I did my best and let it go. Don't do anything illegal. Because some people tell you, I'm going over there and kicking the door, and then you're going to have an arrest and probably a conviction of some sort on your record for going in that house. And if they were in there when you went in, that's burglary with habitation, and that's an aggravated offense. And now you got a felony on your record, and now that's going to be used to keep your kids out of your hand. Don't be stupid. Be smart. Some people tell you, get you riled up and gassed up, and you'll crash. You got to be smart about this, but you got to be persistent. If nothing else, you got to be able to show your kid when they're old enough to come to you, and they will. If you show them love and you do everything you can, when they're able to get from underneath that, they'll come to you. And when they come to you, you can show them where you put in the work, that you did things, that you filed papers, that you called every day, and they said you couldn't talk. They wouldn't put you on the phone and all this stuff. If you can show that, then you've got a chance of salvaging that relationship. You got a chance of still being an influence. Never give up. I don't care where you're at in the stage. I don't care if they are adults. Still try to mend that. But while these babies are still babies, we need to find a way to be present. And I'm telling you, like I said, I know it's not easy. Now, sisters, look at here. Cut it out. If you one of those sisters that's stopping a brother from being in the presence of his kids, because it's so much more about this than money. Get the money issue taken care of. A man is supposed to support and provide, but he's also supposed to be a presence. His energy is needed. His guidance is needed. The way he moves and operates and handles himself needs to be presented to these kids so they can see what a man looks like up close and personal on a regular basis. We've got to do better. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have a great day. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the share button. We need to get these numbers up so that we can get this message out. Also, support the work we're doing. Go to that first paragraph in the description box and find a way that you can help. We need your support. On that note, I'm out of here.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in with a little special announcement. For those who have followed me for any stretch of time, you know, outside of the businesses that I run, like Myriad Business Solutions, the Visionetics Institute, Odyssey Media Group, I also do a great deal of work inside of the inner city communities in Houston, Dallas, and other areas. I'm asking now, as we push a fundraiser, that you support what the Odyssey Project is doing in the inner cities, especially with programs like Black Men Lead, which is a rite of passage initiative, and Restoring Ghetto's Forgotten Daughters, which is a program focused on helping young girls, but boys as well, suffering from childhood sexual abuse, rape, molestation, domestic abuse, absentee fatherhood, and so many other things. The information will be in the box. Thank you.
From a conceptual perspective, things people talk about it as out of success.